Wow, Mary, long time no see.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
I
Uh,
like the lemongrass background.
sorry, what did you say?
I said I like your background. It reminds me of lemongrass.
Lemongrass. Hmm.
Is that apple part of your one meal a day or is this part of a snack?
One meal a day. Yeah, I eat quite early, like after exercise, jogging in the morning. I eat around 9, 10, 11, depending on my schedule. So I continue to eat, just keep eating.
Everyone, hey Mary, hey Maritz, is that the right way to say it?
Maritas, yeah. Hi.
Marita?
Yep.
Okay,
Nice to meet you.
thank you.
Of course.
Welcome to the club,
Thank you.
and thanks, Mary, for giving an invite.
Yes. This is a District 101 Club, Merites, and they're terrific. I went to both conferences and it was two different experiences. It was very interesting. Got a lot out of both.
Amazing.
Because you're in the District 4 conference as well, right, Mary?
We are, but in a week we will be called 205 after we merge with 59.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you know if all the area directors have been assigned by chance?
I don't think so.
Okay. I was curious
They
to see how.
just they just started up the 205 beta website, which is where I think you will see the names. So they do have the division directors listed, and it is appearing as d205tm.org.
Okay. Hopefully, I hope they pull the District 4 uh pathways guide because I loved referencing people to that. I know I showed Sib that one time where like, ooh, so we're using secrets from like another district or something. Like, yeah, they do that pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like all the good things get kept for the new website for sure. Okay, I wanted to do a quick overview of the rules just to make sure that we have everyone here before we get started at 12:05. So I'll be the Toastmaster of the day. I have John as speaker one and GE. So I see you know it down. Sonia, I know that you signed up for G as well, but would you be open to taking on the Marion role?
Sure, no problem.
All right, thank you. And then Jeff, would you be open to being a dedicated evaluator? Would that be something you'd be interested in? Or we can also do round robin. We'll have you included in that if that works too.
Round robin.
Okay, so we'll do round robin for both speakers then, if that's okay with you, John and Marita. Did I say that right? Maritas or
Maritas, yes, and that works. That works
Maritas?
great.
Okay.
Vincent, can I evaluate my own speech?
I do, I think that's one
Nice.
idea we should really explore one day though.
What,
It's
what if
like
I end up blocking myself? I'm like, you're not invited anymore to speak. Just kidding. That'd
just
be
give me the
weird.
future.
We would never
Oh
do that.
man.
I'll toss
Uh,
out a variation of that, John. I attended Evening Stars meeting, which is an advanced club, and the speech gets a formal evaluation, which is rigorous. Other
Uh-huh.
people can contribute, so you might get two or three evaluations of the speech. And then the table is turned back to you, and you give feedback or you evaluate your evaluations.
oh, so you get
Wow, I've
revenge.
never heard that before.
Oh,
It's very
Wow.
interesting because somebody might say, I actually considered doing what you're proposing, but I didn't do that because, and it creates food for thought for the evaluator.
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
I've had some
So,
rough evaluations in Toastmaster 7, one of the largest club in the world. I thought I did a good job. This guy hammered me so hard. I'm like, what? it hurt my feelings so bad. Not really, but I didn't give a speech for a couple months there because it was so ruthless. I was like, my goodness. But anyway, I hear what you're saying. Those are rough.
Yeah.
So
An eye
it's
opener.
definitely a great club, but the bar is really high on the speech, on every element of it. And then you later learn, oh, she won the evaluation contest and he won this.
That's
And
why. Oh,
Yes.
and we'll probably be able to hear more of these ideas in the future as well. And thank you for sharing that, Mary. We're just gonna go ahead and get started. So we have Jeff as the sergeant at arms. And Jeff, would you be able to kick it off? You can hand it to me right afterward.
Sure, ready, of course. Welcome to Security Speaking Club. Great weather today. If you see my background reading lesson, but Mary said she likes it. Well, let's welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Vincent.
Thank you so much, Sergeant at Arms. Jeff, welcome everyone to today's meeting at Securely Speaking. My name is Vincent and the Toastmaster / host for today. I'm really excited because we have two really skilled speakers. So we have John, he's just joined us from last month. Very talented, energetic speaker. Looking forward to what you have next. And we have our guest speaker, Maritas. So I'm really excited to hear because whenever I hear guest speaker, we're always learning new ideas from how different guests speak. So I'm sure will be something that we can learn from you as well. For the theme of the day, we have finding common ground. And I think that's one thing that I've noticed in Toastmasters or other groups. If I know I'm in a Toastmaster group, I can easily have a few topics. What's the common ground? You're a Toastmaster. How'd you join? And getting to know more about you from that origin story. But when I'm in a party with many people I don't know, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm becoming, that person that just hides in the corner or just like seeking around saying like, is there an old classmate around here that I could just talk to and just catch up with rather than really meeting new people. But when I remind myself of finding common grounds where we can just talk about struggles at work or any hobbies and activities that we really are trying to improve on, like maybe they're trying to work towards a marathon, maybe they're trying to read 50 books in a year, whatever it might be, I think finding that commonality or a common challenge or a common hobby is something that I'm trying to take as a new strategy going forward. So the theme is finding common ground. The word of the day is intersect. And in the club, whenever someone uses the word of the day, we like to show a hand gesture like so to encourage everyone to continue using it, to continue adding it to our vocabulary. And intersect means to share a common area. Usage, for example, might be where morality and self-interest intersect. I'll see if I can find a more Toastmasters related one. That was a bit too, that was an example I found off the internet. It might be a little bit too deep. But please do use the word of the day, intersect. Now, before we begin, I want to give the opportunity to Maritas as well. If you'd like to introduce yourself, or if you'd like as well, I can introduce you during the speaking section. It's up to you. But uh, let's see a quick introduction about you. How long have you been a Toastmaster? How did you hear about us?
Yes, I'll jump in. Thank you for the ad. So, my name is Marta Seitz-Das. I am with Mary at the LEB Toastmasters Club in Palo Alto. I joined Toastmasters in October of 2025, so it's been over 6 months now, and I'll be doing a level 2 speech and hopefully finishing up level 2 by the end of this month. So it's been a wonderful journey and still a lot to learn. So I'm excited to learn from all of you today.
Thank you for sharing that, Maritas. And that means that you've been really, really well with like the number of speeches you've been giving per month, and just being able to accelerate to level 2 within 6 months is really impressive. So great job in your efforts. And just being here as a guest speaker already within 6 months, that's really impressive. I've been shaking my boots. So we'll go ahead and get started with, before we get started with the first speech, I wanted to do a quick overview of the roles and just what you'll be expecting. So first, I'd like to call on our timer, Sib. Sib, would you be able to demonstrate what you'll be showing as the timer for today?
Right. So while you speak, you will see the blue background I already have behind me. When you reach the minimum length of time that your speech is scheduled for, I will switch to a green background. Then when you are halfway between the minimum amount of time allowed and the maximum amount of time allowed, I would switch to yellow. And when you reach the maximum amount of time allowed, I will switch to red. There is, however, a grace period. When I switch to red, you still have 30 seconds to wrap up before you are considered to be over the time limit.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Sib. And in case anyone has any issues with the screen, you can feel free to pin Sib if you're actively speaking. Second, I'd like to call on our Mary and Sonia, so we combine these two roles within the club. Sonia, would you be able to briefly describe your role?
Yes, my role today is to count all your ahs and ums and other crutch words. And also, I'll be counting how many people use the word of the day. At the end of our meeting, I'll give you a report and we'll see how well we do today.
Thank you so much, Sonia, and thank you to both our functionaries for being able to volunteer for today's meeting. Now we'll get right into the speaking section. I know we're a little behind, so I'm going to rush through the introduction. First, we have our first speaker, John. He'll be giving a speech for the Pathways Dynamic Leadership, Level 3 Connect with Your Audience. So our first speaker joined Securely Speaking in May 2026, and today he'll be leading an open discussion on the different types of managers and what makes great leadership truly effective. Please help me welcome John Christensen. Great managers don't just lead work, they unlock people. Great managers don't just lead work, they unlock people. John Christensen.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. All right, my first question of the day is, what does every great athlete or performer have in common? And please feel free to speak up. I'm going to make this like an open question answer type session as we go through.
They work hard. They put in the hours.
Okay. Excellent. Anything else?
Resilience to failure.
Okay. Excellent. Anybody else? Anybody have a favorite athlete, sports person that you think, boy, that person is so amazing?
I like
Perhaps the
Christian
grit
Nadal.
and honesty of Simone Biles.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Perhaps the grit and honesty of Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast who spoke on the world stage about having mental health challenges.
Excellent. Very cool. Anybody else? So far, you're all 100% wrong. And when you hear the answer, you're gonna like slap me remotely. Anything else? What makes a great athlete like? Did Michael Phelps jump in the water and just knew? Because they said his body's built like a fish, so to speak. He's so good. How about Michael Jordan? Yes, Sid.
The regularity of the effort, as in, every day rather than all at once in a while.
You're getting warmer. Anybody else?
Can I use her speech title? It's a manager.
You cheated. Yes. So what makes somebody great is having a great coach, right? So isn't that weird? So I I used to be a professional skier in Utah growing up until I trashed my knee. I used to play professional racquetball. And I'm not bragging or anything. I just had great coaches. All right, so we're going to talk about managers, good and bad. By the raise of everyone's hand, and everybody's hand, how many people can recall having a good manager or a bad manager? What stands out more in your mind, think manager? Is it good or bad? So everyone for good, raise your hand, please. Everybody for a bad manager. About 50-50. Okay. Yeah. I've given this speech two other times, and the majority of the time, everybody remembers a bad manager, especially me. I've had so many bosses throughout my career, I can only count on two fingers where I had a great manager, and I'm going to discuss what makes them great. All right, let's dive into this. Okay. A great coach is consistent, a creative thinker. They lead by example. They're positive but honest. They tell it like it is. They can read people and they genuinely care. Now, because here's the truth I want to share. At the core of every toxic workplace is a toxic manager who breeds it. all roads lead back to the person in charge. And if that manager won't change, it's safe to bet nothing else will. I've been at so many companies where they hire somebody that knows how to say the right things to get the job. He or she brings in all their cronies. People go on LinkedIn, they lie about what their previous title was. Next thing you know, you have people that never managed anybody are in a high position to manage others and they destroy companies. I've seen this happen time and time again. So I'm going to discuss the different type of managers, and you just think to yourself if any fit one that you like or one you didn't like. First, you got the problem-solving manager. They're task-driven. They're goal-focused, always putting out fires. They lead by chaos. They can't wait to get the phone call middle of the night. All right, let's figure out what's going on. Then you got the problem-solving managers. No, excuse me. I jumped ahead. The pitchfork manager. I don't know if anyone's ever heard this term before, but they're heavy-handed and controlling. They get results through pressure, threats, and fear. Like if someone doesn't stay past 5 p.m. or work on weekends, they make them feel guilty. They they say you're not part of the team. Or some people will stay active on their Teams or Slack or Jabber or whatever program the company may use just to see their boss. When they go from green to yellow or log off, then that's the time for them to log out. That's crazy. So that's the pitchfork manager. The third is a pontificating manager. They shoot from the hip and make the rules as they go. The result is inconsistency. The fourth manager is the presumptuous manager. It's all about them. Look at me. They put in their signature in their email. It shows all their certificates, how much money they saved, all their degrees. These are the people. It's all about the recognition, and people come second to them. We got number 5, the perfect manager. These folks have real strengths. They're open to growth, training, and change, but they run so by the book. They become more robotic than human. The 6th is a passive manager. Their one goal is to make everybody happy, admirable, until they need to please, gets in the way of actually leading. Now, the passive manager is one that's friends with everybody. They want to hang out after work. They want to be buddy-buddy. That dynamic does not work in the workplace. The 7th manager, this is the one we all want to aspire to or become, is the proactive manager. The proactive manager takes the best of all of the others and leaves the baggage behind. They have the drive and authenticity of the pitchfork manager without the fear. The confidence of the presumptuous manager without the ego. The passion and presence of the pontificating manager with consistency. The problem-solving instincts to support their people. The knowledge and discipline of the perfect manager, but they stay human. And the heart of the passive manager, the desire to serve and to genuinely care for their team. That's the manager who builds a world-class team. That's not a boss, that's a coach. So at the beginning of my speech, I said, what makes an athlete great? It's actually a manager or coach. So I'm going to talk about the 2 managers I had that I loved. First was when I first got an IT in Utah, we were way behind California in technology. This is when things were moving from dial-up to DSL. I was help desk. I was answering calls, help people troubleshoot, ISDN, dial-up stuff. I kept asking my boss so many questions. He goes, you know what? I'm going to promote you. And I kept asking him so many questions after he promoted me. He's like, I'm getting sick of you, John. But he was a cool guy. He took me to Barnes and Noble. He said, I'm going to have you read this book, this book. So we're like leaving. So I learned I'm a Cisco guy. I'm a Linux guy. I know a few things. So we leave with all these books. He goes, don't come to me until you read and understand these manuals and books. So I got to that point, and then my career took off. He was such a cool guy. I keep thinking of him today. And what's weird, he got out of his industry, went to software engineering. In Utah, I dropped out of college. I have a learning disability. I didn't like college. We were the 4th university in America to get the internet. And so that's where he worked at. And he was really knowledgeable. Such a cool guy. Respect him to death and what he did for me. My second manager at JetBlue. JetBlue, they had full-time employees that were playing around in their network. They were doing tests. They were doing labs. They would take down airports. And they just got fed up with it. So they hired all of us contractors. There's a data center in New York and a data center in Utah. And I worked out of the one in Utah. They fired all the full-timers. Once they had us on, we got the documentation, we got the accounts, they let them all go. It was crazy. We did not see that coming. Anyway, our manager was so cool. He was a musician. This is back when Avatar, the first version, came out. the movie. He was such a cool guy. We get on these calls and he had everyone talk about what they're doing with, how he can help, and then we had one-on-one discussions. We did team building. They would fly out to Utah, we would fly out to New York, we'd go to Topgolf, we'd go to fun restaurants. We had a good time together. We didn't even talk about work. He was so cool. And he was sincere, authentic, just a cool guy. And I think he got out of IHL together. I think he took off to the music career, went to music industry. He was such a cool, inspirational guy. And when I do conduct job interviews, I actually ask people, do you speak a second language or third language, and do you speak a musical instrument? I find that people that with those two skill sets are holistic thinkers and can solve almost anything. No matter what they're faced, they can handle it. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you with this. Think about the best manager you ever had and the worst. The difference was never the title on the door. It was whether they were managing you or coaching you. The good news is, whichever stage you're in, you can evolve. You can become the coach your team remembers for the rest of their careers. Or the question is, what kind of manager are you? The other question is, what kind of coach are you willing to become? Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that inspirational message. I think the goal is to find out where the balance of those two intersect. So great job for sharing that. And I'd like to give 45 seconds on the clock, Siv, if you can do a timer. So since this will be round robin, we'll have some of us will have an opportunity to share thoughts, anything that's we appreciated. Don't worry, we won't bash you for this one, John. So anything appreciated, anything
No, please do.
that could enhance for next time.
Please give me the most ruthless feedback because I've tried to condense it and there's so much. So please be honest. It won't hurt my feelings. My other club, that was another story.
Okay, we'll do. And so just wanted to check on the timing. Oh, perfect. My 45-second internal clock is ticking, I suppose. So thank you, Sib, for being able to time that. So next we'll be moving on to our second speaker, who's our guest speaker, Maritas. So one of Maritas' main pillars in life is mentorship, either as a mentee or as a mentor, and has realized that asking questions, and many of them, is the key to success in both roles. Reflecting on not only her personal life, but also her personal life, Maritas will share 3 learnings from her time spent asking questions of the people around her and trying to provide the best answers to the questions asked of her. Maritas is a member of LAB Toastmasters and is working to complete the Presentation Mastery Level 2 before June 20th. Please help me welcome Maritas. Sorry, just one more question. Sorry, just one more question. Maritas.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And
Maritas, how long do you want your speech to be timed for?
the 5 to 7 minute
5 to 7.
timing would be great. Wonderful, thank you. Graduation day. I sat, cap and gown on, in my college counselor's office, with a confused look on my face. Maritas, Mr. Deep said, I wish you had come to me sooner. It would have been great to have this discussion months ago. We had been chatting for the last 2 hours in the afternoon, and the graduation ceremony was over. I was confused because what he had called out hit me like a train. The missed opportunity to connect and seek out mentorship months ago, the missed opportunity to intersect. Graduation was over, but it was only then that I connected with someone who could have been a very strong mentor for me. A bit too late. But in reflecting about his comment weeks later, I realized what he really meant. That there were people willing, like him, to mentor me and support me well before I had already achieved my goals. And that realization was the beginning of my journey to be a better mentee and to someday pay it forward if ever asked to be a mentor. It wasn't intuitive for me at first. I had achieved a lot of things without formal or informal mentorship before. But over time, I grew to appreciate the value and the support to be found in mentorship and made an effort to seek it out, which contributed greatly to my growth and any success I've had. But I wouldn't have gotten here without some eye-opening lessons distilled into what I call the 3 hows of mentorship. Number 1, as a mentee, sharing goals and information proactively is the first step. When I was just starting out on my mentorship journey, I wasn't very structured or forthcoming about how I approached the relationship. I didn't want to overwhelm or bore my mentor, so I was pretty deferential to what they thought I should do, thinking that anything they threw at me would be more helpful than anything I could think of asking for. This worked a bit when you're brand new to the subject or the industry or the role, but eventually you realize that mentorship is a two-way street and it's an exchange of information rather than just a download. And you get so much more out of the relationship, being honest and upfront about what you need from the beginning. Number 2, the mentee is in charge and accountable. A couple of years now into my mentorship journey, I was still a student and very much treating my mentors like teachers with a curriculum for me to follow. That led to a bit of confusion on everyone's part. They were not necessarily organizing boot camps for me to dive into really deeply to learn the subject matter, and I was pretty much waiting for a teacher to give me an assignment. It was like 2 ships passing in the night, not ever intersecting. Then one day, one of my career mentors, because I hadn't followed up in time about reviewing a cover letter and application and my resume that had a deadline, let that deadline pass without jumping up and down or waving a flag saying, hey, you're missing this. And I really learned my lesson. It was a wake-up call. It spoke volumes louder than any email or text they could have sent me about, hey, look at this. I never let it happen again, and I took my fate into my own hands starting on that day. Mentors aren't necessarily teachers asking where your homework is. And if it doesn't get done, it's your own loss and only yours. Finally, number 3, asking questions, and many of them, is a good thing. And sometimes you will not get an answer. When I finally got comfortable with the mentorship into my adult years, the questions started flowing just like the curiosity did. And at this stage, I did make sure they were pointed, direct, and structured. But I didn't expect that some of them would go unanswered. And that was my main lesson. Always ask, either for either the question that you have or the favor that you need, and be okay with no or silence, sometimes being the answer. As a mentee, the job is to ask and to find these answers to your questions. And sometimes your mentor will have them, and sometimes they won't. But the mentorship itself, the relationship and the potential to have your questions answered is the entire point of the relationship. So although I may not have started going back to graduation as a very aware or willing mentor or mentee, that opportunity of missed mentorship pushed me to be much more intentional about all forms of mentorship in my life. And from the experiences that followed, the 3 hows, so sharing proactively, I am in charge, and always ask your question, really solidified the why of mentorship for me. And I'd like to personally make a little plug for my own mentor here at Toastmasters, who's here on the call with us today, Mary, and how much she's also influenced this mentorship journey and is a huge part of my success of being L2 today.
Thank you so much, Maritas, for sharing that story. I'm glad Mary was here as well. That would have, well, I mean, it's still a nice honor even to be able to share that privately, if she wasn't here. But I'm glad that she's here. It really shows her support to you, and you being able to be like what you mentioned, being a good mentee also requires tasks for us. Thank you for sharing that. And so if you could time this for 45 seconds, we'll just be taking notes, anything that we appreciate about Marita's speech, any points of feedback to help enhance her speech even further for next time. Thank you so much, Toast Timer Sib, for timing that section. Next, we'll be going on to the second section of a Toastmasters meeting, the table topics. And Maritas, I really appreciate you being able to use the word of the day twice. I don't have to talk about the word of the day anymore because everyone should know it, right? Right? Okay, I'll post it in the chat though. But nonetheless, we do encourage you to use it during the table topics section for this next part of the meeting, which will be led by Mary. So please help me welcome Mary as the topics master for today.
Thank you, Vincent. As we've heard, common ground comes from universal experiences. It can come from relationships between families, within families, and within friendships. I'd like you to describe a situation where you had a shared interest that helped you to transform an acquaintanceship into a new friendship or relationship. Sonia.
Thank you for that question. I think the most significant relationship that's occurred in my life that I could explain to you is when my son went to high school. He went to Wilcox High School in Santa Clara. And he had a little bit of a hard time making friends, but then he met Joey Brett. And he and Joey Brett started hanging out, and Joey was a Boy Scout. And so somewhere along the way, Sally and I met, and all of you have heard me talk about Sally in some way or another over the years. But that's how I met. I think Matthew got an invite to go to a Boy Scout meeting, and through Joey, that's how I met Sally, and we just hit it off. We became best friends, and Joey and Matthew they just hated it. They hated that we were best friends because we were always hanging out. It's not like they could tell one of us, oh, I'm going to his house versus his house and go off and do something else because we were always together. We knew where they were going. And so having them, do their extracurricular activities together, Matthew ended up joining Boy Scouts, being able to go on camp outs together really solidified our friendship up front. Just doing all of those activities together and commiserating about the Boy Scouts together. But it's 15, 20 years later, and we're still best friends. And so I believe that, you find those relationships in your life in different places you don't expect, and you find those kindred spirits. Sometimes your life intersects in different ways with different groups of people that you don't really think you're going to like or know very well or have much in common with. That sometimes it turns out you'll find that one person in that room sitting in the back with all the other moms at Boy Scout meeting thinking, this is insane. Why did I show up to this? Why didn't I just drop them off and leave? And then you hear somebody else grumbling in the back. You're like, I'm right? Let's go. Let's go have a coffee or something. A new friendship is born. So I would encourage everyone, take that chance. There might be somebody sitting next to you who you totally jive with. So take that chance.
Thank you, Sonia. For all future mothers of boys, just think about those Boy Scout projects that are going to be in your future. And through one of those projects, you might find some very important people for your life. In diverse groups, it's really important to look at some of the human experiences that allow us to find common ground. I'd like to hear a story about working with an individual or a group of people who were very different from yourself. What helped you to find common ground with them? Sib.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Table Topics Master. I'm going to deconstruct the question because to me what matters is different in which way. I'm someone who feels similar to people when we have the same values and interests of curiosity and mutual respect and intellectual curiosity in general. So working with someone who was very different from me and finding common ground, I remember the one person that comes to mind is a friend of mine who is very uneducated, but really, really sweet. And we met working while I was saving money to go to South Africa. I took up a second job in a supermarket as a cashier, and I can't remember what it was like working together because none of us really had much time to interact during work, but we would spend some time together afterwards, and she was really sweet, and I really liked her for that reason. And I met her parents, who were adorable, and we've been friends all these years. Ever since, like, wow, that was in like 1990, so you do the maths.
That was the last millennium, Sib.
Yes, well, that's what happens when you're born just before the end of the millennium.
It's always interesting to see how people we think are very different from ourselves can have points of intersection where we actually find that because of an interest or an experience that they've had, that they are actually someone that we can connect with. Tell us about a conversation that changed your opinion of someone because you both found something you both cared passionately about. A conversation that you changed your opinion of someone because you both had a common passion. Betty.
I was sleepy. What's your question again?
Yes. Tell us about an experience or a conversation that changed your opinion of someone because you found out that you both were passionate about something. You both cared about a common interest and you didn't know that you shared it.
Thank you. Tabletop masters. It's hard to change someone. You bring your brain to somebody's brain, but sometimes you just need to compromise. For example, just like my husband, he is very stubborn, and he said I'm very stubborn too. So I don't know who is stubborn because maybe both we are stubborn. He's a German Thai, and he found his father's he a lot common with his father, and I feel I'm a Taurus. My born in May, but they say Taurus they are very stubborn too. But I don't feel I'm stubborn. So how you compromise? When you love each other, you just need to compromise, right? If you want to stay in the same room, you want to stay in the same house, you need to compromise. I cannot change people, but I can just surrender. Just kidding. I never surrender. I will just okay, I know what your point because we are different culture. Culture, different culture, different opinions. Very hard to have your own strong opinion to throw to people. That's impossible. I don't think you agree to me. I don't care because I have my own opinion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you for sharing that story about your husband and finding common ground between two very different cultures, and how you have connected through your mutual love for each other rather than focusing on some of the areas of conflict that might separate you. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Mary, for being able to lead this section. And just wanted to give some context. I believe Mary signed up last minute. She saw my thing and she was like, all right, I'm going to come up with questions. I can take this on if needed. So I really appreciate you being able to do that, Mary. Oh, and don't worry about it. You'll still have a chance. You could squeeze the word intersect in the round robin for today. We will have some opportunities to squeeze it in, so we'll give people the chance. And Jeff hasn't gotten a chance to speak yet, so maybe Jeff can be like a mini evaluator for both as well. But let me welcome our general evaluator for today, John, who will be leading the round robin section and functionary reports. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Vincent. I'm laughing at Betty saying she's a Taurus. I had to say this. I'm a Leo. Taurus is the most stubborn. Leo's the second most stubborn. When she said that, I'm dying. Sorry, that was just so funny. It's killing me. Okay. All right. The next portion of our millions evaluation portion. And this is how we turn speaking opportunities into learning opportunities. We recognize what worked, offer specific suggestions for growth, and help one another become stronger communicators and leaders. In some of my clubs in person, they write a piece of paper, what they liked, what they didn't like. Sometimes I give a speech. I think I did not so well. I get feedback 50% said I did good. The other 50% said, what were you trying to say? So it's kind of funny how that goes. So since we are going to do a mixed evaluation for my speech, how much time will we have for the group evaluation, Vincent?
I know we're a bit short on time, so let's do 2 to 3 minutes. That way we'll have some,
Okay.
yeah, 2 to 3 minutes total, Sid, for everyone. So each person can say maybe one point they liked, any points of improvement. Although 2 points of the 2 points that you liked is great too.
Yeah, and don't be shy. Be honest with what you did and didn't like. And I appreciate Betty telling me it would have been great if I did a PowerPoint to list all the managers because that was a lot of information there. So thank you for that, Betty. Anybody want to share feedback?
I can start. John, I really liked the interactive section. It was great, and I'm trying to think of feedback. Anything that can be improved next time? I would just say occasional eye contact, if just because we know we got the sense that you're reading something, but that was it. Overall, great interactions, good energy. Nice job.
Thank you. Sonia, come on. I didn't know you were a Taurus, so you're going to really let me have it.
I'm gonna really like have it, but uh, I felt like, well, I also felt like you were reading to the side, so that's something you want to maybe, try and get it on your main underneath camera or something when you're giving a speech that you're reading from or reading notes from on your screen, because I lost a few of your manager types. Partially because you were speaking really fast, and I think you were doing that because you were trying to reduce the amount of time and you have a lot of material. My suggestion to fix that would be to do slides, because if you had the slides, you can say, here, on 2 or 3 slides, you can do here are the different manager types, and then you could just give the overview while in the background it has the adjectives of those manager types, and you don't have to list them all out for each one. And that would save you a bunch of time right there. So I would consider doing that if I were you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's awesome. Anybody else?
I'll jump in really quick.
Great feedback.
John, I want to say I love how our topics coincided so nicely, unexpectedly. I thought you did a great job. I just would echo with the first, or with your 2 managers, just understanding what archetype you thought they were or how they fit into, I'm assuming, the proactive archetype. Really like making that explicit would have been a good circle up for me.
Okay. No, thank you so much. Yes, Sid.
Maybe it's just me, but your second archetype I felt would have probably been best as the first, because that is the one that I think people are most familiar with, or at least think of as the bad manager, the really unpleasant manager everyone wants to avoid. And about the slides, I think this topic is great for humorous slides, like caricature characters.
Yeah.
That would have been great for that.
Thank you. All right, we're going to wrap that up for evaluation for myself. Next, we want to hear a group evaluation for, do you pronounce it Maritas?
Maritas. Yep.
Maritas or Maritas? Sorry.
Maritas.
Maritas. Okay, thank you. All right. And again, 2 to 3 minutes on the clock. Is that correct, Vincent?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. Anybody want to go first?
I see Sib's hand is up, right? Sib? Oh, sorry.
Sonia.
Sonia, let's go first.
Please.
Okay. Again, I saw you looked like you were reading off to your left on a different screen, or maybe had your speech, pinned up or something. The rest of your body language, aside from that, was really great throughout this whole thing. So I would encourage you to keep that up. I don't know where you're doing your next speech or performing this next speech, if it's at a lectern or if it's online, but you're doing very well with your body language and with your vocal variation, because I think you're about in that same level of doing, oh no, it's level 1. So sorry, this is level 2, but you're doing great with all of that. But just try not to read your speech and looking towards the left, because you didn't give the audience enough eye contact while we were watching you through your camera. So that I would be aware of for your next speech.
Thank you, Sonia. Anybody else?
I can share next. I really liked your vocal clarity, Maritas. When I heard it, I was like, wow, this is like if there was a recorder, like all the words would be perfect and clear. So great job there. I really like your language as well. You mentioned like ships in the night, and you're able to use the word of the day intersect. I was like, oh, great job as well. And the idea that you were able to use the word of the day so many times just shows me how like prepared you were for the speech. Like you kind of understood the speech like the back of your hand, essentially, to be able to squeeze in a few things where you're like, "Okay, I can add this in because I still know my story." That's spot on. I think one thing that for me could have elevated further was one story that I might have missed. You mentioned there was like a missed opportunity because of a deadline that you were mentioning for the mentorship, and I think I pieced it together later that the mentorship didn't work out afterward because of that late check-in or late follow up. But it was something that I pieced together later, I think, from the summary. So that was just a story that I would think or at least for me, it was just like something to explore further or make it clear, like, oh yeah, that mentorship just ended for me because of that. And then just add that vocal variety or that pause to show that emphasis impact. Overall, great structure, good clarity, good preparation. Nice job.
Thank you. Anybody else? So if not,
I just talked
go ahead.
right to Meritus. Yeah, she's well prepared, and then she really everybody can tell too. So next time maybe your English is good, you can just remember, just write down the point, and then just speak by your nature. Then you'll become more professional in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. And I want to add something to her speech, how that we're always told to bring things in threes. So in the beginning, she said the three hows, and it was to share information proactively, take ownership, and ask questions. That was simple, clear, and concise. So I loved it. And I want to steal parts of your speech and add them to mine. But thank you. Anybody else want to comment?
I'll echo that, John. Meritas is exceptional at signposting. So she tells us, I am about to give you some really important information, and it's going to be 3 points of how. And we can cue our listening in at that point. And then we can sit back as she puts a story around it and adds depth to the high level that she's presented. So I think it's a great idea that you're going to steal some of her approach to your speech as well. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the helpful evaluation. We will now hear from our Marian for the language report, including the word of the day intersect, which I failed to use again. Sonia, please give us your report.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And I do have notes to read. Vincent, that in the section of the meeting, at the beginning and speaker intros, I heard 4 Ahs. Maritas, you did the word of the day twice. I heard 6 Ahs in your intro of yourself. And then in your speech, I heard 2 Ahs and 1 So you're doing very well with things that you're prepared for, but not necessarily talking about yourself. And that's very common. Sib, in your role intro, you use so at the beginning of a couple of sentences. And then in your table topic, I heard two O's. John, in your speech, heard two O's at the beginning of your speech. So it seemed like you were having a little bit of trouble getting started, rolling into it. And then I heard myself give the word of the day, and I heard myself in my table topic use two ahs and two ums. And if anybody else heard me use ahs and ums, now's the time to say. And Mary, I heard you give the word of the day twice as well. And Betty, in your table topic, I heard three ums and two ahs. And that's my report.
Thank you, Sonia. And Siv, if you don't mind putting the time of each role in the group chat, there it is. Thank you so much. All right. And I'll do a quick general evaluator report on the meeting. I think we started just a little bit late, and I was late jumping off a call, and I was a little frazzled a little bit. I thought the meeting went well. I'm glad we got to group of owls because I love it. You get to hear everybody's perspective because people hear different things, and that's awesome because everyone has a different point of view. Everybody has a different filter, so that was great. I think the meeting went off well. We got roles filled along the way, and I believe that's it. I'm going to hand this over to Toastmaster Vincent. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, John, for being able to take on both roles, the speaker and the general evaluator. And thank you everyone for being able to accommodate this round robin section as well. So before we end off, I wanted to get some guest feedback from our guest Maritas. What did you think of the meeting?
This was a really wonderful meeting. I really appreciate everyone having me and the evaluation piece. I think we're very on time. And for LEB, we have a little bit of a longer meeting. So that point of comparison with an additional speaker, it's good to see how on time we are and disciplined in this meeting. So I did really enjoy that. And I think the round robin also is a great format for giving evaluation. So thank you so much again for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for being able to share your idea. We always love hearing guest speakers, having guest speakers come and then just share their perspective, and their stories. So thank you for being with us today. Next, I'd like to take on roles for next week. So for next week, per our tradition, we have the general evaluator as the Toastmaster for the day for next week. Are you available to do that, John?
How
It's
dare you?
still.
Yes, I am. I can do it. And we're
All
going to
right,
force
perfect.
Marietta's to join our club,
Oh
like
yeah,
strong armor, twister arm, or something. I don't know.
in case you would
But
like a
yes, I can do
second
it.
club, the yeah, I would say like ours is one of the advanced clubs where you're able to practice impromptu speaking. So in case there's an idea that you'd like to test out that you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure if this is gonna work yet and don't have the time to prepare it, you can just like splurb out your speech, 5 to 7 minutes, go, and then be like, this is something that you can just get some feedback on. So we just encourage people to take on impromptu speeches. If there's no prepared speech, that's perfectly fine. We create I believe we create that safe space. I feel like it's a safe space to practice that. All right. And then the next thing I'd like to double check is speakers for next week. Who would like to be a speaker? Who hasn't given a speech in a while would like to give that a shot? Impromptu speech is okay too. The Sonia, would you be available next? Oh, Sib as well. So Sib, would you be able to take on the, I'm guessing, impromptu speaking slot? Would you like that?
You know me so well.
All right, I'll have you down as the second speaker. So I think with those main roles, John, I'll just post a poll in the group chat to fill out the rest, but let me know if you have a theme in mind. I really like the cheese theme that you had last time. Was it cats and cheese?
Yeah. Yeah,
Furs and
but we
Parmesan.
had summer solstice the
Furs
other
and
day, and
Parmesan.
I picked that one. That was fun. But yes, I'll pick a good theme.
All
Thank you.
right, looking forward to next week and the comp. Like just gonna know you as the combo themes guy in the future. So we'll see what the sex theme is. All right. I think that covers the roles for next week. I'll hand it off to our president, Sonia, for any announcements. I'm so sorry I took up the guest feedback thing, but
No, that's
for
okay.
any announcements and so on.
Picture. Here's our picture.
Oh yes. So for the benefit of my test, so we do take pictures just as a way to just be like, oh yeah, like kudos to our meeting for today, and just to celebrate and give FOMO to the members who couldn't make it. So that is our purpose. So if you're open to it, that'd be great. Betty, would you like to take a photo as well? Are you available? All right. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right, thank you everyone. So that covers the photo.
Thank you, Vincent. The last item or most urgent item that I have on my agenda is that I still need 4 people to sign up for officer roles for the next term. We still have President, VPE, VP of Membership, and Sergeant at Arms open. So if anyone would like to sign up for one of those, please let myself or Vincent know. Otherwise, I'm going to hold some people to fill the role.
You can possibly anything but president, Sonia. Just because of my current position for District 1, just want to make sure it's not too much. But yeah, you can volunteer me for any of the other positions though.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. All right, that's all I had for today.
All right, thank you so much, Sonia, and thank you everyone for being able to attend today's meeting. And John, if in case people didn't get the chance to send the feedback, you'll have the feedback responses as well. It's in the WhatsApp group chat, so you'll be able to just like search through your name, and you should be able to find it in the future. So we have your name in that poll now. And with that, oh, and Maritas, let us know if you need one of us to fill out an evaluation form for you to get that credit as well.
Yes, that's right.
So I can send that over to Mary since we have her contact, and then she'll be able to get that over to you as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. And then with that, thank you so much, everyone, for being able to attend today's meeting. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Have a great one.
Bye, everyone.